What are some other finance or investing resources that you think our listeners should take notice of? And obviously, we're going to do a big plug for Shareclicity 2, but also Shareclicity 1. If you're looking for a guide for investing in any types of shares, basically, ASX and US shares, get Shareclicity, and you'll quickly discover that there are so many things that you can do as an individual investor. So obviously, I think you're going to talk about Shareclicity a bit, but are there any other resources in addition to that?
No, you gave a great plug. I think we'll just leave it there. I can show that. I'll just do my little plug. There are the books.
Oh, there they are.
Very bright and colourful.
They are bright and colourful. Look, in Australia, I have my main source of looking at companies and broker research is called FN Arena. And I find that a really valuable resource. I discovered that about 5-6 years ago. I had tried Morningstar, not for me. I am on the ComSec platform, so I do get access to Goldman Sachs research. I do read articles on Livewire, but I'm fairly selective at this stage. I have the AFR, again, some articles I find really interesting, others that I don't. I do follow on Twitter. Really in the US, it's a much, much bigger pond. My primary sources, I have a subscription to Bloomberg, CNBC Pro, which gives me access to interviews, etc. I follow for technology a lady called Beth Kindig, who I think is an absolutely wonderful explainer / analyst for technology companies, and she has a free newsletter, so if you follow her on Twitter. I listen to Kathy Wood's macroeconomic more so than necessarily her company stuff, but I think some of her work is very interesting. I think that if you are interested in a company like Tesla, you can't go past Rob Mao, who does Tesla Daily, who is completely approaches from a very transparent and independent fashion as opposed to a pump and dump style. And I also read an economist called Lynn Alden occasionally, and for the really more big picture stuff, which I still like looking at, I look on LinkedIn. I follow Victor Schvetz, who I worked with. He's one of the strategists at Macquarie Bank who wrote a book called The Great Rupture last year. He's a mega thinker, a mega brain, but I find his work very interesting. It's actually quoted in Shareclicity too. And I also follow Mike Howell, who was my global strategist at Barings. He was Salomons before that. He runs Cross-Border Capital, and he looks at global liquidity analysis across the globe. So if people are looking for more Ray Dalio types of people, that's where Mike Howell and Victor Schvetz fit in. Some of their work is not behind paywalls. So I've tried to give people examples of stuff that's accessible. And I think if you are again receptive and listening a lot, and also bear in mind, there's nothing wrong with realizing that understanding an overseas market like the US can give you insight into the Australian share market as well. Like, it's very obvious, like you watch the trends over there and they're replicated back here a lot of the time. So it's again, if you have the time and the interest, I just encourage people to read. If you can pick up on any of the research that comes out of Morgan Stanley, I love what they do. I own the shares. I think that they do amazing stuff. But again, it's progressive and it's into secular trends and things that I like. And the only thing I'll say there is just beware of personal biases and confirmation bias.
I think that's a great list. And there's a lot of resources in there that we haven't heard before on the show. So I think there'll be plenty to pack out the show notes with for people to investigate when they have a chance.